Now imagine, if you will, being told that the very country you would willingly lay down your life to defend doesn't want you, doesn't accept you, sees you as defective, sees you as a threat to our national security. Not because you can't do the job or because you lack patriotism or courage. No, but because of who you are as a person and because of who your sexual partners are.
Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau delivered an historic apology this week to LGBTQ Canadians for past oppression and decades of rejection. Today we're going to speak to MP Randy Boissonnault, who is Special Advisor to the Prime Minister on LGBTQ2 issues. Good afternoon, MP Boissonnault. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Can you please tell us about the apology and why it was necessary?
I think if you take a look at and listen to the speech, you'll notice that there is a focus appropriately on the discrimination and the wrongs of the past, and the fact that for 40 years the Government of Canada discriminated systematically against LGBTQ2 Canadians, fired people from the Federal Public Service, the Canadian Armed Forces and the RCMP. And so the Prime Minister apologized categorically to LGBTQ Canadians for discriminating against them, for othering them, for saying that they were somehow betraying their country. All these people wanted to do was serve.
The apology also comes with $145 million attached to it. Can you please give us an overview of who will be compensated and how it will be determined who is compensated?
There's $110 million in compensation for those Canadians who are part of the Canadian Armed Forces, the RCMP and the Federal Public Service, who were fired for being lesbian, gay, bisexual. And it's important to note that, and this is why there's money set aside for administration and an administrator to take a look at each of the individual cases. And there's a different range from $5,000 to $15,000, $50,000, and in extreme cases where there was sexual assault, because that did happen. Egregious cases, the maximum amount is $150,000. What we don't know yet, and what will be important to wait to see once the agreement in principle is certified in court and the class can actually open, we have yet to see, how many people we're talking about. Are we talking about 2,000 to 3,000? Are we talking about over 5,000? That is yet to be seen. The other part of the settlement is very important, is $15 million set aside for reconciliation matters.
One of the topics of the apology referred to the younger generation. Can you speak to that?
Kids are facing their own identity, whether it's gender identity, sexual orientation, or whatever, at all ages. And I can tell you the apology was powerful, and people came out on the Hill on the 28th, because I've seen the emails and people have called me and said, if the Prime Minister says I'm loved and valued, then I'm done hiding. So that's why this kind of leadership matters. It's why apologies matter. It's also why sending the signal over and over and over again that we're all people. I mean, look, I'm the first openly gay MP elected from Alberta in 2015. And so we still have work to do, and at the same time, our society's changing. And for elected officials, for leaders to lean in on that is really important.
And with society changing, what can be done so we can see that this never happens again, this type of discrimination?
So credit where credit is due. Every party leader stood up and spoke at the apology. That's historic. And so you have a commitment from Parliament to never see this happen again. It was done in the right place by the Prime Minister, and it was very sensitive. And I can tell you the measure for me is that a woman who was seriously wronged, the first military policewoman in Canadian history, Lucie Lapel, who also saluted the Prime Minister during the middle. She stood up and she saluted the Prime Minister towards the end of his remarks. And when I talked to her after, she said, I stood up and saluted the Prime Minister when I felt that my soul was at peace.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on all of your efforts on behalf of LGBTQ2 Canadians.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.